Today, I want to show you how I produce podcast episodes in less than 5 to 10 minutes max. That's for editing, production, cleanup, adding my music, taking out mistakes, cleaning it all up, like noise reduction, leveling, all that stuff taken care of in just 5 to 10 minutes with a certain set of tools, a certain process, and a certain recording mindset, okay? This saves you so much time in editing, so much time on production. Let's take a look at how it works. Thanks for joining me again on another video. As always, hit that alert button if you want to see new stuff come out from us every single week. But today, we're looking at editing time. We're looking at how to make that editing process and that production process easier. Difference is, editing is taking out the mistakes, editing is cutting it down to the stuff you want, and production probably includes as well the cleanup, leveling. It includes the noise reduction, polishing up that audio, as well as adding music and the fades and really making it, making it zing, making it pop. So that's what we're going to cover. And I'm going to include, on this video, I'm going to include gear. So we're going to look at the gear that can make it simple, because that makes a big difference to your recording process, your production process. But we're also going to look at mindset for recording, okay? It makes a big difference how you think about how you record. It ties into how many edits you need to make in the first place, as well as assistance in editing. And I've got a couple of tricks for you that makes editing far easier for when you do make a mistake. It makes it so much easier to actually get rid of that mistake. So let's start by jumping into the gear. Let's have a look at the gear and see how that can help us make editing and production much easier. Okay, first, a quick point on gear. So gear does make a difference, but it doesn't need to be complicated. That is the key. You want to keep your gear as simple as humanly possible, okay? The more stuff you add in, the more like XLR mics and mixers and cables and all sorts of devices, the more of them you add in, the more likely something is to break. Or the more likely is that you waste a lot of time like figuring out where the fader should be, what the settings should be, all that kind of stuff. It's just unnecessary. You do not need it. As long as you hit a base level of quality, then that's perfect. And really you should be looking for the simplest possible setup that does hit that base level of quality. So there's two recommendations I have here. Both of them are USB microphones, okay? So unless you know a ton about gear, I would say just stick with a USB mic, all right? Certainly for your first 20, 30, 50 episodes. Once you're at 50 episodes and beyond, you know this stuff, you know your content, then you can start to experiment with complex setups like the podcaster and stuff like that. But, up to then, keep it as simple as you can, and that's one less barrier to getting that recording done, okay? So what you need is a handheld mic like the Samson Q2U, okay? This isn't a Samson Q2U, but it looks very like that. This is the Shure SM58. But Samson Q2U looks very similar. It has a USB connection on the bottom plus the XLR. So USB at first plugs into your computer, super simple, super quick, but it has XLR if you want to expand in future. And it's a great quality little mic, only costs $50, $60, 70-ish, depending on the time of year. That will do the job, great quality mic. If you really want an upgrade, then go with one of the Rode products, okay? This is the Rode Procaster plugged into the Rodecaster. The names are all the same. The Rode Procaster, but the Rode Podcaster, which is the white version of this, is the USB version. It's the USB mic, which has all the quality of the Rode Procaster, but plugs directly into your computer. That's the one I use for my day-to-day podcasting, the Rode Podcaster. It's a bit of a step up in terms of quality from the Samson Q2U, but it's a bit of a step up in price as well, $100+ at least, usually $150, maybe even $2, depending when you catch Amazon, okay? So that's it, simple gear, simple setups, easier recording, get started recording, less time faffing and less time on the whole podcast episode making process, okay? Q2U or Rode Podcaster, get it plugged in and get on with it. Okay, now we're set with our gear, we're all set up, we've got our USB mic in front of us, not USB mic, but pretend it's a USB mic. We've got that in front of us. How are we going to record? This is where the mindset comes in. It makes a huge difference to the episode creation process, how long it takes, and how much editing we need to do, okay? So this is a mindset thing. Now, the way I think about this is, it's the imperfect but perfect you mindset, okay? Imperfect because we're not going to worry too much about being perfect, because when you are yourself, that's when you are perfect, all right? So it's the imperfect, perfect you. When you're honest and open and transparent and just human, not over-edited, not over-rehearsed, not over-scripted, that is when you are your best imperfect, perfect you, okay? That comes with mistakes, it comes with stumbles, it comes with messing up your words every now and again, it comes with having to say, that's not what I meant, this is what I meant, and you don't edit that out, okay? It's almost like you're thinking about it like a live performance. Imagine you're on a stage, or imagine you're running a radio show. You don't get to do retakes, you don't get to try it again, you don't get to edit it, it just goes out there. So it's your imperfect, perfect you, because you come across perfectly yourself, and that's what people love you for, okay? If you edit out all the mistakes and you come across too clinical, too polished, too robotic, it's almost not as good. Some people can tell, people are good at sniffing out deceit, non-transparency. People are good at sniffing out transparency, people who are honest and open and just put themselves forward in an imperfect way. So that's what we're looking for. Treat it as if it's live. Hit that recording button and just go for it. And keep going no matter what the mistake is, okay? Now I say no matter what the mistake is, but sometimes you make such a big mistake that maybe you do want to take it out. And actually, you can edit out a few mistakes without too much trouble, as long as there's not too many of them. And as long as you use the trick I'm about to show you, okay? So there's a click trick. There's a click trick, a trick called a click trick, which is how I tend to mark mistakes when I'm recording a show, okay? When Matthew and I are recording Podcraft, if we make a mistake, or if we mess something up, or we just want to put a little marker in there for editing, here's what we do, okay? So what we do is we slip up and say, damn right, okay, hold on. We pause. We take a second or two. And then we go right up close to the mic and we go, you hear that into the mic? Clicks. So click with my tongue. Works just the same with claps. That was a crappy first one, wasn't it? Proper claps. Or snapping the finger. Can't snap my fingers very well. That's why I click. You need the three, okay? So the three quick noises, and then another pause. And then you start speaking again. And those three pauses, those three clicks, those three snaps, they show up on your editing, on your editing platform really, really easily, really, really clearly, okay? When you're skimming through, and I'll show you this a little later in the video, okay? I'll show you the editing process that includes this. Those three snaps, those three clicks, you can see the pause, you're skimming through. It takes you literally just 2-3 minutes to skim through a half hour or an hour long show, and you spot these spikes, and they show up so clearly. So you do not have to listen to every minute of the show. All you're doing is skimming through to find these spikes, and that shows you where to edit. The second part of the trick is, and this is something that comes more easily to you over time, it took me a little while to get into it, but actually it comes quite easily once you get in the mindset, is you try and remember what you said at the start of the sentence when you made the mistake. So if I start saying something and I mess it up, I'm like, oh, right, what was the start of that sentence? If you think back straight away, generally you can remember the first few words of that sentence. I said at the start of the last one, if I do something. So I do the pause, and I click, and then I pause again, and then I start speaking, and I try and use the same start of the sentence. What this does is that when you're in editing, you're skimming through, you see the spikes, you see the pauses. I just click straight after the clicks, just after the pause, and I press play, and I listen to the start of that sentence. That's the right one, that's the good take, that's the fixing the mistake. And then I scroll back, I go back 15-20 seconds in the recording, and I start playing, and I listen for the start of that sentence again. And if I've done it right, it's the same words. And I can really quickly find it. I can cut out mistakes in 10-15 seconds this way. I skim through, I spot the spikes, I press play just after the spikes. I listen to that, I go back, I listen to a few seconds, and I find the start, and I drag and edit over it using Alitu, okay? It's really easy to find. Even if you can't match the words, generally you can make it similar, and it's easy to find it. So that's the mindset piece of this. First, we're thinking imperfect, but perfect you. So you treat it as if it's live, you just keep going, you barrel on and you create transparent, open, honest content that is you. And then if you really have to fix a mistake, you use the click trick to mark those edits, okay? You use the click trick and then that comes into editing later on. So we'll come to editing a little bit later on in the video. You'll see how I edit out those clicks, a wee demo of editing them out. But I hope that helps because this cuts so much time. You can edit an hour-long show in just 3, 4, 5 minutes max if there's only a few mistakes. All right, let's now jump into the creation process. Let's actually make our episode. So this is Alitu, the tool we're going to use for it. Alitu is designed to make podcasting as easy as possible. So I'm just going to show you how it works. So this is me creating a new episode. I'm not going to worry about my metadata just now. All I'm going to do is type in that. I can fill that in later on. And then we're going to record something. So I'm going to just record my episode straight in. You can record elsewhere if you prefer, and then upload the file. So if you want to record somewhere else, whether it's a call recording platform or anything, you can do that elsewhere. But then you can record calls in Alitu as well. So you can actually record a call right here in Alitu. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record straight into Alitu. All right, so solo recording. I'm going to record here. Let's start. And I'm going to record a real live episode here. Obviously, this show that I'm recording just now is quite a short one. So I'm recording for Pocket-Sized Podcasting, which is our show. You can find that over on any of the standard listening apps, Pocket-Sized Podcasting. It's our short 1-minute daily show about how to run a podcast. And I'm going to create a little bonus episode for that right now. Now, what we're going to do, so this is only going to take me maybe 2-3 minutes to record, hopefully. We'll see if we go over. And then I'm going to show you the edit as well. But you can listen along to the recording too, if you like.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right. So I think I went a bit over a few minutes there. So I'm going to write in Pocket-Sized Podcasting bonus episode. Okay, I could preview it here if I so choose. I'm not going to. I'm going to trust that I got it right. And that's it now doing all the cleanup. So it's now processing, which is doing the audio cleanup. It's doing the noise reduction. It's doing the leveling out my voice, making sure it's all good, making it sound great. Now, what you can do as well is we don't tend to use music in Pocket-Sized Podcasting, but I'm going to add one here just for a bit of demonstration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, while this is processing, I'll go to my library and I'll add a bit of music to my library. So what I do, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. What do I like the sound of? What about some scatterbrain? That's what I'm sounding like just now. Oh, I'm not going to use that one, I don't think. It's a bit serious, eh? Standards. All right, that will do just fine. Okay, so I'm going to do intro and outro short. I'll add that to my library, 18 seconds. And you've also got segments, you've got loops, you've got transitions, short transitions like. So that can go between your clips, but I'm just going to do this for now. All I need is that. So back to my episodes, go back into my new episode. Now to add that music into the episode, all we do is hit add your music. And then there's that bit of music, 18 seconds long, add that in. And there we go. And then add your music there, add, and that's it in the intro and the outro now. So automatically now, from now on, if we set that as our default, that music will always be added in automatically. We won't have to select that every single time. And what I'll do is I'll do a fade as well. So if you remember, let's go back actually. So length is 18 seconds. So I'm going to make that overlap so that, let's say it plays for 4 seconds at the start, a nice short musical interlude at the start. So take off 4, that's 14 seconds. So we'll overlap it by 14 seconds. You can actually edit that. You can see the format it takes. So it plays full volume for 4 seconds at the start. and then it'll ramp down and it'll play over the voice for another 14 seconds overlap. And you can preview that to hear what it sounds like if you so choose. Save that. And I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. I'm going to type it in 14, wasn't it? Yeah, save. And that's that music added in. All that's left to do now is to send this off to be exported. So that's preview my episode so that you can hear what the final result sounds like. So like I described in that episode, what I'm going to do, actually, do you know what I like? So this is the standard editing view in Alitu. You can scroll around. I actually like the other waveform. So you get simple waveform or professional. I like the professional one, so I'm going to go to that. And you can choose either way. We have quite a diverse range of people using it. So some people prefer the simple waveform, some people prefer the professional one. I quite like this one. It gives you a wee bit more detail for finding your clicks. So if you're doing a bit of click editing, you can use this one. So first thing I'm going to do is do my top and tail. So let's play. Recording starting. Right. Okay, so that is the start. So I am going to drag and edit there. Take that right to the beginning. Okay, zoom in, just make sure I'm cutting that right at the start, cutting off that audio. There we go. And I'm going to bring this up to here. So now, if I play back to the start. Welcome to Pockets. There we go. That is the top. Okay, now I'm going to skim to the end and do the same for the very end. So that is this episode of Pocket Size Podcasting. Well, there's not much to cut out there, but there's a wee bit. So we're just going to skim right to the end. Cut off this bit of silence. There we go. And then I'm going to show you a quick bit of click editing. So I didn't make any mistakes in there, but I demonstrated the click editing, didn't I? So what I want to zoom in to show you is, what's this, about 7 minutes long. So what I would normally do is cut it down so that it's like, I'm seeing individual words. So you can see that if I scroll in there to, if I'm out here, it's kind of all a big mess of audio, but if I scroll in, you start to see the pauses between words. Like I'm now seeing these more individual spikes. That's about right for seeing the click editing. So what I'm going to do now is I can either use the arrow on the right here to skim through, or I can even drag the little window here. So I'm going to drag through. There's a pause, but I don't see any spikes. So what I'm looking for are pauses and spikes. Let us see. So I'm scrolling through. Oh, here we go. Couple of pauses, couple of big pauses. And actually, I kind of ruined the pause by doing a demonstration, didn't I? Let's listen. Just a couple of beats. And then I'm going to click into the mic. That's cool, but you can see that those spikes are really obvious on the waveform here. So what I normally do is I click straight after the spikes and I start playing. 3 clicks right into the mic. Then we pause again. So then we repeat. That's the start. So if it was an actual mistake, that would be the start of it, wouldn't it? And what I would do is I would drag an edit point from there to the start of the clicks at least. And then I would start to find the sentence before. So where did my sentence start that I made the mistake on? So you listen to... So if I make a mistake, I go up. So you listen to that, you try and find the start of the sentence. I'm going to say, right, oh, it's actually there. And then I click the drag the edit to there. And that is it. And then what you can do is you can click just before that edit, click on there. You see that the purple waveform. Press play. So if I make a mistake, I go up and then I'm going to repeat. There we go. And you can test it out. That's you testing the edit. And you just do that for all your edits, all your clicks. You keep scrolling through so you capture all of the clicks and that's your edit done. And that is how you can skim through and do your edit in far less time than the size of the recording itself. Okay, that's that done. So let's preview my episode. That's it now processing. It's actually creating the final file. So once that's ready, we can go and publish. Oh, that's it, ready. Okay, nice. So we go to the publish screen now. And here's where I would be able to listen to it. So I ended up with nearly 7 minutes. I can't do brief. I can't do short even when I try. So that was a 7-minute recording, and looking at my timer, we're now on 15 minutes. So We're still well under 10 minutes for the actual production if we don't count the recording time. But now what I would do is I would put in my title. So this is all about, so I want the problem and the solution in there. So let's say cut that soul-sucking, cut that soul-sucking editing time with the right gear, mindset, and tools. There we go. There's a good one. Right, so don't need them. Host name, Colin Gray. Now description, like I said, well, actually, no, I didn't, because you're not going to hear the recording, so I'm going to edit that out because it's too long. So description should always include a problem, the solution, and the uniqueness. So here's one I prepared earlier, a little description. Copy that in. I tend to keep them relatively short, just a few sentences. So problem, solution, and you can go and check this out in the live episode afterwards if you like. It'll be in the show notes there. But you've got the problem at the start. Do you often find yourself falling down a rabbit hole? And then solution, well, it's possible to create a 30-minute show. And then a bit of uniqueness, showing some of the elements of that, which helps them decide if they want to listen. Okay. Update episode details. Update select, successful. And that is it. Now I can publish this episode. And actually I'm going to add, because this is going to be outside our regular programming, I'm going to add bonus at the start there. Okay. And then I have to save that again. Okay. And now I can publish. And that episode is actually now live on our feed. And if you're watching the video of this, you can go down to a link in the show notes, which will show you, will take you to this episode so you can see that it is actually live. You can hear what it sounds like in reality with the music in, with the edits applied, and you can check that out. So going by my clock, that's us on about 17 minutes from start to finish. And that includes recording a 7-minute episode as well. So that means 10 minutes for the production, the cleanup, the music, all of that stuff. And you can do that. I mean, with a longer episode, you might have a few more mistakes to edit out, for sure. But honestly, those mistakes, you saw me just playing around in the editing. With the click edit trick, you can edit out, 3, 4, 5 mistakes in just a few minutes. And I often do that. That's what we do with our Podcraft episodes. So with Podcraft, quite often we'll just do, we'll make 2 or 3 mistakes potentially, maybe up to 4, 5, 6. We'll just do a click edit, and I can edit down a 20 or 30-minute episode in just a few minutes really easily. And the main time it cuts is all in that, the processing, the audio cleanup, the add in the music and the fades and all that kind of stuff. So that makes it simpler. So I hope that's given you a good idea of the edit process that I would recommend using if you want the simplest, quickest way to get your podcast out there. Hey, thanks for sticking with us. I hope you got a lot out of that video. I hope that gave you so many tips around how to make it, quicker, how to make it easier, how to make it less stressful in putting together your podcast episodes right from start to finish, right from recording through to publishing. As always, if you want to see more of this, more of our podcasting content, hit that alert, that subscribe button so that you get told when new episodes come out. Hit subscribe on the channel so that you can see all of everything we do. And of course, nip over to thepodcasthost.com, which is our main website. It includes new resources and new how-to stuff every single week. And finally, our How to Podcast tool, Alitu, mentioned in this video a fair few times. That's ALITU. That's our How to Podcast, our How to Make a Podcast tool. It's a tool that helps you make your podcast. You get a 7-day free trial if you want to give it a shot. So you can try it out for 7 days, create an episode or 2 to see if it works for you. You get it over at alitu.com, alitu.com. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you on a future one.